files you'll need to install Ubuntu are commonly assembled into a package called an ISO image. ISO images are packaged in a way that they would be if they were put onto an optical disc such as a CD, DVD, or Blu-ray. ISO stands for International Standards Organization. It's the body that comes up with all kinds of standards, including the file system format for optical discs. That's ISO 9660 in case you're remotely interested. It may also contain other files commonly used by DVDs and Blu-ray discs. The nice thing about an operating system that has been packaged in such a way is that you can boot to it and install the operating system from it. Another nice thing about ISO images is that they do not have to be put onto an optical disc to be usable. You can fool your computer into believing it's loading from an optical disc when it's actually loading from the downloaded image file directly or from a USB device. To download the image, go to www.ubuntu.com/server/download. Click on the big download link for the latest version of long-term support, or LTS, Ubuntu server. As I write this, it's 18.04.1, but when you download it, it may be 18.04. something, or if you download after April of 2020, it'll be 20.04. something. And it's downloading a file called ubuntu-18.04.1.0-live-server-amd64.iso. This CR download will go away when the download is complete. It's downloading it to my downloads folder. This behavior should be similar whatever operating system you're using. Just make sure you know where the downloads go when you normally download things. The image is fairly large. It's about 812 megabytes, so it may take quite a while to download depending on your internet speed. Over an hour for my horrible internet connection. Be patient and let the download complete. You'll then have the ISO file you'll need for upcoming lessons. In this lesson, we'll do an Ubuntu Server 20.04 installation on VirtualBox. Ubuntu 20.04 is the latest version as of this lesson's creation. It was created in April of 2020. In the previous lesson, you downloaded the latest version of Ubuntu Server 20.04 long-term support ISO file. In this lesson, you'll use that to create a server virtual machine, or VM, you'll use throughout the course. Open VirtualBox, then click on New. Type in a name that will make sense for your server. For type, choose Linux. For version, choose Ubuntu 64-bit. You can leave the default machine location unless you want to save it somewhere else, and then click on Continue. For memory, I usually put it at 2048 or 2 gigabytes, but you could certainly leave it at 1024, then click on Continue. Click Create Virtual Hard Disk Now, and click VDI Virtual Disk Image, then click on Continue. Use Dynamically Allocated, and that means the disk space will be created as it's used instead of reserving it all at once. And click on Create, and double-click to start the virtual machine. It'll ask you where to find the ISO image, so just browse to it and select it. And click Choose. Then click on Start, and your virtual machine will start installing. I've sped this up quite a bit so you don't have to wait. Choose English, or if you need to, press the up or down arrows or tab key and then hit enter. I like to update with the new installer, update to the new installer as it's installing. If you have a slow internet connection, that could significantly slow down your install. Leave the keyboard layout at English, but of course select different if you need to by using the tab key and then the up or down arrows. When you've selected it, click done. Leave the interfaces at default and hit enter for done. You don't need a proxy. Probably. If you do need one, you probably know that already. And then hit enter for done. We're going to use the entire disk, and we're going to set up this disk as an LVM group, which is Logical Volume Manager. We won't encrypt it because this is just a practice machine. Hit enter for done. You can look over the summary. It's going to make 3 partitions: a boot partition, a BIOS partition, and a main partition. You're going to have to hit the down arrow for continue and hit enter. Put in your name, your server's name. I kind of try to make it match the VM name. It's up to you though. Pick a username. Put in a password. And then confirm your password. And then hit done. Hit enter for done. I do like to install OpenSSH Server, so I hit the space bar to select that, then tab down to done and hit enter. There are a whole bunch of other packages you could install at this time as well. We don't really need any of them at this time, or we don't need any for the course either. But if you want to try any, please feel free. Then tab down to done and hit enter. Again, I sped this up a lot so you don't have to wait. And it's updating while it's installing. You can see it says cancel update and reboot. We don't want to cancel the update. Just let it run. It may take a bit longer, but it will be up to date when it does its first boot. It installs security updates. You will still have other updates you'll want to install, but the security updates will be taken care of before first boot. And then hit enter to reboot. Don't worry about the errors about the CD-ROM unmounting. Just hit enter and it will reboot for you. And then log in. When you get a bunch of messages on the screen, you can just hit enter to kind of clear those messages. So you'll type in your username, hit enter, and then your password and hit enter, and you're logged in. Good job.